Advertising some great prices, but when you go to buy the tickets, there aren't any seats left. Also, at least one Des Moines woman had to be taken to the hospital today because she thought ice cream that she had eaten might have been contaminated. We'll have these stories, Mike Rosano's weekend weather outlook, and Jeff with all the day sports coming up at 6.
There are new reports tonight that Terry Waite is a hostage, and the White House says it welcomes that Senate Intelligence Committee report.
NBC Nightly News with Tom Brokaw.
Good evening. There are reports out of the Middle East and Washington tonight that Terry Waite has been caught in a running feud between several factions in Lebanon and that he is being held against his will. But apparently Waite, who has been representing the Church of England as a hostage negotiator, apparently he is not in imminent personal danger. Muslim sources in Beirut say that Waite is being held by the Hezbollah as a bargaining chip. The Hezbollah, the Party of God, is believed to be responsible for the kidnapping of several American hostages. And a top PLO official charged today that Waite arranged for the release of American hostage David Jacobson 3 months ago by paying a ransom of $2 million cash. The PLO official said the money came from American corporations, but he didn't name any specific companies, and the State Department said it knew nothing about it. At the White House today, a presidential spokesman acknowledged that a Senate Intelligence Committee report does contain information that makes it appear that President Reagan sold arms to Iran in an effort to free the American hostages. Nonetheless, the White House welcomed this report, saying it supports generally President Reagan's statements on the Iran-Contra affair. However, NBC's John Dancy reports tonight that the Senate report does raise many questions about just what the president was up to and what he knew.
The Iran report contains circumstantial but not direct evidence that some members of the Intelligence Committee say raises questions whether President Reagan knew about the diversion of Iran arms sale money to the Contras, knew about it as long ago as mid-May of last year. May 15th, 1986, White House diary show the president meets with National Security Advisor John Poindexter and possibly others to discuss the worsening situation for the Nicaraguan Contras. Poindexter tells the president money is running out, new funding is stalled in Congress. The president and Poindexter discuss various options, including private donations and appealing to foreign governments. On that same day, perhaps at the same meeting, the president and Poindexter discuss Robert McFarlane's planned mission to Iran and the points McFarlane will discuss with the Iranians. Those points are contained in a document called the Terms of Reference. Later, when investigators open Oliver North's safe, they find what appears to be the same Terms of Reference, along with a situation report on the financial plight of the Contras. Both those documents are stapled to a memo in which North discusses diverting money from the Iranian arms sale to the Contras. North says $12 million will be used to purchase critically needed supplies for the Nicaraguan Democratic Resistance Forces. So, terms of reference were discussed with the president on May 15th. The plight of the Contras was discussed with the president May 15th. Now, some committee members want to know, was the diversion of funds to the Contras also discussed with the president? All three documents were stapled together in North's safe. Senate Intelligence Committee Chairman David Boren says it is not yet clear whether the president knew of the diversion.
There's nothing in this report to this point that would show direct evidence that the president knew about the diversion or that he ordered it. But of course, it's impossible to rule anything out when we've not heard from any of the key witnesses that would be in a position to know.
The Senate Intelligence Committee was never able to go beyond the circumstantial evidence that the president might have known about the diversion of money to the Contras. Now, the Senate Select Committee on Iran will continue to look into the question. John Dancy, NBC News, at the U.S. Capitol.
And while that was going on in Washington, in Beirut, a bloody, brutal way of life and death continued. Another car bomb, this one in East Beirut. It killed 6 and wounded 39, including several children. NBC's Chris Drake was perilously close when the bomb exploded.
It was lunchtime in this crowded street when the bomb went off. A school bus just ahead of us took the full force of the blast. It's extraordinary that most of the children survived. There was panic, people fearing a second bomb might explode. The raging fire made rescue work more difficult. Militiamen fired into the air to keep the roads clear for ambulances. By Lebanese standards, it was a relatively small bomb, about 35 pounds of explosive in a parked car. That was little consolation for the victims. No one knows why this particular place was chosen as a target. It's just a shopping area with no military or political significance, but always busy enough to guarantee many casualties.
This is the horror, the terror, the danger that is a part of everyday life here. There's no warning, no way of knowing which street is safe and which isn't. It's all a matter of luck. Today with my camera crew, we were just 4 cars behind the school bus when it exploded. Today was our lucky day. Chris Drake, NBC News, Beirut.
There are indications tonight that 2 more leading Soviet dissidents may be permitted to leave the Soviet Union. They are Anatoly Koryagin and Sergei Khodorovich. Koryagin twice has been nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize. And in still another development, it was reported in Moscow today that 500 Jews will be permitted to emigrate. Some 10,000 applications to leave now are also being reviewed. A veteran Soviet expert in this country, Jack Matlock, was named by President Reagan today to be the new American ambassador to the Soviet Union. Matlock has served 3 tours of duty as a diplomat at the U.S. Embassy in Moscow. He's a former ambassador to Czechoslovakia. Also coming up here tonight on NBC Nightly News, Mike Jensen on the new airline ticket war. Prices are cheap, but the rules are tricky. And if you break the rules, you pay the price. And Keith Miller tonight on the grind of the America's Cup. The grunts who hoist and lower the sails for very little money.
You know, as much as I love my job, sometimes it gives me a headache. But I never go home with one. I used to take aspirin or Tylenol. Well, now I take Advil. You see, Advil has a non-prescription strength of the medicine in the prescription brand Motrin. Just 1 Advil is as effective as 2 regular strength Tylenol. Look, I don't want to go home with a headache. Advil sure works for me.
Advil. Tablets and new caplets. Advanced medicine for pain.
You're on your way.
Kids and science can really get together in the right kind of place. So Dow has developed and funded the Touch Tech Laboratory here at Impression 5 in Lansing, Michigan.
In this particular experiment, we're going to make a solid out of 2 liquids.
It's a hands-on museum that puts the wonders of science at a child's fingertips.
Here you go, PJ.
And who knows what that could lead to.
Dow lets you do great things.
When it's cold and rough outside, try something warm and creamy inside. Cream of wheat hot cereal and instant mix and eat. Their smooth texture always lets the flavor come through. 2 great ways to come in from the cold.
As expected, President Reagan today vetoed the Clean Water Bill designed to clean up the nation's harbors, lakes, and rivers.
The 100th Congress enacted an $18 billion sewage treatment program that is so loaded with waste and larded with pork I cannot in conscience sign it.
Then, in the first confrontation between the White House and the new Democratic majority in Congress, the president signed the veto message.
I just said no.
Later, however, the president admitted that there is enough support in Congress to override that veto. The Chrysler Corporation insists that its auto plants have the best safety record in the industry, but federal officials disagree. They charge that Chrysler ignored safety reporting rules and failed to report some on-the-job accidents. Chrysler has agreed to pay the Federal Job Safety Agency, also known as OSHA, the largest fine it ever has levied, $295,000. There is a new fare war going on in the skies over this country, and it is forcing airline ticket prices down to earth. That's good news for the budget-minded travelers, but as NBC's chief financial correspondent Mike Jensen reports tonight, the new lower fares are for a new kind of ticket, non-refundable.
And it's 108 as opposed to 158, which you were paying before.
Today, people were rushing to book the new cheap flights on Continental and Eastern, both owned by Texas Air. The announcement by Continental's president, Tom Plaskett.
Today, Continental Airlines is slashing fares nationwide.
The new low fares apply to almost every route flown by Continental and Eastern all across the country. Most of the other major airlines are cutting prices to compete. Continental said 40% of its seats would be sold at the new Max Saver price. Eastern, 20%. Airline fares now cover an enormous range. Here's a comparison of Continental's fares, which are typical. New York to Los Angeles, one way. First class, $495. Coach, $330. Super Saver, $129. And the new Max Saver, $89. As reservations poured in, the airlines exulted.
I love it. Let's get them all on every airplane. Fill every seat.
But a lot of people couldn't get the cheap tickets because flights were already full.
I'm trying to get you the lowest fare, but at this point, I don't have anything available for the low fare.
Travel agents weren't doing much better.
Yeah, well, we don't have those fares in yet.
Some travel agents said they couldn't make much money on the new low fares.
For $2 commission, it's terrible.
There's also a risk in the new fares. Once you've bought a ticket, you must use it or lose it. No refunds. Not only that, but some passengers worried that the airlines might start cutting corners.
Worry about maintenance. I've had some bad experiences on planes, and cheap fares do concern me a little bit.
Nevertheless, most people buying tickets said they were delighted to see the airline fare wars heat up again. Mike Jensen, NBC News, New York.
In a Minnesota courtroom today, a woman pleaded not guilty to a charge of committing murder 22 years ago. The victim of her alleged crime was her 3-year-old adopted son. NBC's Cassandra Clayton reports tonight. The police began investigating his death recently at the urging of his natural mother.
For Jerry Sherwood, it was the end of a long and painful journey to find the son she had given up for adoption, then to find out who killed him. It was the beginning of prosecution for Lois Juergens, who adopted the infant and was charged today with murdering him 22 years ago. Sherwood's search began 6 years ago when she tried to locate her son Dennis, but learned he had died when he was 3 years old. She was curious about the circumstances. Last fall, she began to try to learn what happened.
I had to know for myself why he died, how he died. It's not fair. Somebody should have been punished for it a long time ago.
According to coroner's records, the child's death was due to a perforation of the small bowel. But newspaper clippings from 1965 said the death was being investigated. That's as far as it ever got. The boy had lived here in White Bear Lake with his adoptive parents, who told police back then that he died from a fall. Sherwood came to the White Bear Lake Police Department to see the original report on her son's death. The police here reopened the case after they reviewed the file and saw pictures of the battered body of the child.
And they were very graphic, very clear, and left no doubt in anyone's mind that it was a severe case of child abuse.
I guess the part that bothers me the most is that nobody cared until I did. Couldn't they have cared 21 years ago?
Prosecutors say they don't have an explanation why there were no charges when the boy died.
He died a very tragic death, a very brutal death. I think the entire system failed, and I've maintained that all along.
The trial is scheduled to start in late March. Jerry Sherwood says she'll be there. Cassandra Clayton, NBC News, St. Paul, Minnesota.
Cadillac Seville for 1987, an unmistakable statement of success. Its elegant design surrounds some of the most remarkable engineering in Cadillac history. Engineering designed to enhance your comfort, your control, and your confidence with impeccable manners on the road. And a new, longer warranty, all the while reminding you that Seville represents the ultimate in American luxury sedans. Seville, the elegant spirit of Cadillac.
It's exciting being a new mother, but now I have more decisions to make for my family. One choice I've already made is our pain reliever. It's Tylenol. The first time I was given Tylenol was in the hospital. They gave it to me after my son was born. Tylenol really took care of the pain, so I wasn't surprised to find out it's the pain reliever hospitals use most. If hospitals choose Tylenol, I'm sure it's the right choice for my family.
Trust Tylenol, the pain reliever hospitals use most.
Look, they're my parents, and I tell you, they're acting different. I mean, they go dancing. Herbert and Jane dancing. I know, Mother thinks it's fun. She wears eye makeup now. I don't know what's gotten into them. Whose is this? Why don't they act their age?
To help them get more out of life, people are eating better. Some have found Kellogg's Product 19, 100% of 12 vitamins and minerals. Feel good about yourself.
Tennis? They don't play tennis.
Feel like 19 again.
The government of Philippines President Corazon Aquino today issued arrest warrants for a general and 3 other officers. They're accused of organizing this week's attempted coup by backers of former President Ferdinand Marcos. And just 3 days after that challenge from the right, the Aquino government was dealt a new setback from the left. Communist rebels said that they were pulling out of peace talks. NBC's Steve Mallory has more tonight from Manila.
The bad news follows more than a week of trouble. The killing of 15 people by government troops last week during a protest march in Manila was cited as one reason peace with the Aquino government was not possible. Memorial services were held today for those victims. Authorities fear fighting between government troops and the communist guerrillas will break out when the current ceasefire expires February 8th. The ceasefire and the peace talks with the rebels were major triumphs for Aquino. The collapse, however, undermines confidence in her government. President Aquino learned of the setback while campaigning for Monday's constitutional referendum. More than ever, she needs a big win to help restore her credibility. To get that win, the government is using every opportunity to promote the referendum. But Aquino faces some strong opposition. Her former defense minister.
We are under the gun. The gun of the present government is at our head, and they're asking us, you vote yes or I will continue putting the gun at your head.
Preparations for an honest vote have been underway for weeks, but there is the threat of vote fraud, so common during the rule of Ferdinand Marcos.
The enemies of democracy can still corrupt the electoral process, given what they stole in the past.
Aquino is expected to get the yes vote that she wants, but she and her advisors are concerned that the remnants of the old Marcos election system will cheat her out of the mandate she needs to restore confidence in her government. Steve Mallory, NBC News, Manila.
South Africa's President P.W. Botha today announced a May 6th election for the whites-only section of Parliament. The election will come as Botha faces increasing pressure from right-wing politicians in that country who want no racial reform, and also from liberals who want much more change than Botha is willing to accept. However, Botha's party is expected to maintain its majority by a wide margin. In this country, civil rights activist Hosea Williams returned to Forsyth County, Georgia today with a list of demands aimed at improving race relations in that all-white county. There were tense civil rights marches there the past 2 weekends. The demands presented today to the county sheriff included compensation for land lost when blacks were run out of the area in 1912.
Daddy's coughing like crazy.
Oh, you sound awful.
Give him my cough medicine.
Honey, Daddy needs something stronger than that.
When a strong cough comes on, adults need a strong medicine to help turn it off. Vicks Formula 44, the only liquid cough medicines with the maximum strength cough suppressant adults need in every formula for the relief adults want.
Let's go, Dad.
It takes a strong medicine to help turn a strong cough off. From Vicks, of course.
Stovetop stuffing in canisters makes a lot or a little in one easy step.
When you want dishes quick and delicious, you can be flexible with Stovetop tonight.
It's the right stuff, always enough. It's great for me at home with the TV.
Have it for you or fix it for 2 more. It serves from 1 to 8 just right. Be flexible with Stovetop tonight.
In flexible serve canisters.
Claude Akins here for Super Poli-Grip. Hey, if you wear dentures, I'll bet you know the pain of getting food stuck between your dentures and gums. Like these darn seeds. Ouch! Let me tell you about Super Poli-Grip. Watch. You see how it forms this seal between your dentures and gums? That's why Super Poli-Grip helps keep food out, dentures in. Simple. If you like to eat like I do. Remember, Super Poli-Grip keeps food out, dentures in.
On special segment tonight, throwaway kids, teenagers who have been abandoned by their parents or runaways afraid to go back home. These throwaway kids are in almost every major city these days. They live on the streets. They form new families of their own. This report is by NBC News correspondent Bill Schechner, who first reported on this lost generation for Main Street, the NBC News program for young people.
Each year, an estimated 250,000 teenagers leave home and can't go back because conditions at home are intolerable. They're called throwaways.
I was 14 and a half and my mother split.
She leave a note?
Yeah, she left a note, gave me a month's rent and $50 for food. And that was it. Never seen her again.
I was scared of my mom. Every time I ran away, I'd be scared to come home because why should I come home when my mom's going to hit me when that's the reason I left anyways?
It'd be risking my life going back home.
Why do you say that?
Just the way my dad is. He wanted me to play Russian roulette with him with an automatic handgun.
Painful stories, typical of teenagers who can't go home. This 16-year-old, call him Charlie, says he tried to go home for 4 years, but his parents drank and hit him. Now he's on the streets for good, part of a growing national problem. Teenagers like this often live together for protection. Charlie lives with John and Lisa.
Lisa and John are my brother and sisters. You know, that's my family right there.
It is hard to reach these teenagers. They avoid agencies that would send them to foster homes. They could go to halfway houses, but there is a severe nationwide shortage of room. They are largely on their own. In this case, living in a concrete pocket beside a freeway. It has no water, no floor, no electricity, no toilet.
We gotta do like a cleanup in here or something. It's a scummy way to live. Privacy, you know, it really isn't anything because it's just one small squad. If Lisa wants to get dressed, we just, I'll turn around so she doesn't get embarrassed or anything.
Teens like this have fallen through the system. Their lives are aimless. Mornings they hide to avoid truant officers. Then they come out and spend hours walking so they won't be picked up for loitering.
Walking, it's like a never-ending road. You see the same scenery all day, Hollywood Boulevard.
If another kid saw this and said, "Looks like what you're doing is fun," what would you say?
I'd tell them, you know, grow up, get real, you know, this isn't fun, this is hell here. Excuse me, do any of you have any money so you get something to eat?
To get money for food, Charlie, John, and Lisa panhandle. They usually buy fast food and eat where they can, like at this bus stop. When they're broke, they eat at a free kitchen.
I just think of it as food. It's pretty gnarly, but it fills you up. I'm hungry almost all the time.
There are many temptations. Because street kids are often prostitutes, people think they all sell themselves.
There was this guy in this liquor store. He just said that, cause he asked me before if I pulled tricks, and I said no. And he goes, well, think about it. If you change your mind, I live right next door. It's not the way that I would want to get my money. You know, I'd rather go panhandle and make 5 cents a day than go get $50 from having sex with someone.
I do feel jealous of kids that have some place where they have a nice family and a nice home, and I don't have any of that. I feel like cheated out of life.
And until more safe havens are created, also cheated of shelter and love. Things they won't find on the streets, things they say they didn't get at home. Bill Schechner, NBC News, Los Angeles.
Runny nose, watery eyes, congestion, and a headache. When you've got all these sinus symptoms all together, you've got sinus complex. And that's too complex a problem for most cold or sinus remedies. You need maximum strength Sinutab, specially developed to relieve all the symptoms of sinus complex. Sinutab, you'll feel altogether better. And take new Sinutab nighttime at night to feel altogether better in the morning.
Long-distance phone calls usually sound something like this. No more, because now there's the fiber optic sound quality of US Sprint.
that uses the same clean, clear digital technology as the compact disc. And we're building the first and only 100% fiber optic network, clear across America. So call U.S. Sprint.
I'm Bryant Gumbel. It's a birthday party today at 35.
I'm Jane Pauley. The golden moments and a peek at what today might look like on its 70th.
A primetime celebration, Saturday night.
Moms have the neatest way to ease you into things. Like when you were a kid and needed a laxative, she wouldn't give you a harsh laxative. No. She'd say, Mom will make it better. Bet she meant this, Mom. Phillips Milk of Magnesia. M-O-M. And even when you're grown up, Mom gives you easy relief, not harsh. Doctors recommend Milk of Magnesia. See? Mom knows what's good for you. You know, no matter how old you are, nobody treats you better than Mom.
It is already Saturday in Australia, and in just a few hours, Dennis Conner and the crew of Stars and Stripes will go against Australia's Kookaburra 3 in the best-of-7 series for the America's Cup, yachting's greatest prize. Most of the attention, of course, has been on Conner and his efforts to win back the Cup. But as NBC's Keith Miller reports tonight, Conner can't do it on his own. He depends on a crew of extraordinarily fit, dedicated sailors who get little more than the thrill of victory for their efforts.
It is the most physically demanding job on a 12-meter racing yacht. The grinders pull in and let out the sails on command.
We got a drive, guys.
On the left is 26-year-old Henry Childers.
Good job, you guys. How's the mass look, Johnny?
He was a molecular biologist and pursuing graduate courses at Harvard when he got the call to come aboard. He didn't join Stars and Stripes just for the sailing. Childers wants the America's Cup back home, where he says it belongs.
It means more now than it ever did then, not because I'm here, but because we lost it.
To help win it back, Childers has been training for more than a year, 14 hours a day, 7 days a week. He doesn't do it for the money. Crew members earn just $10 a day. Their commitment is its own reward. And it paid off when a head sail tore apart during a crucial preliminary race last week. Childers had to go after it.
While I was doing that and hanging on, we were going through waves, it was fun. I was thinking of that. It's exciting. First time we could appreciate, and this is it. This is what it's all about.
Competing for the America's Cup, says Childers, is the hardest thing he's ever done. But getting before a camera to record a promotional rock video appeared to be the most intimidating.
3, 2.
Childers is more comfortable at sea, where the rhythm is set by the wind and the waves, the 11-man crew working as one, and all of them devoted to the goal of winning the America's Cup.
And the greatest thing in the world right now would be to win it. And if we did, it would mean that everything was worthwhile. All that time, all that energy, all those hopes. It's night and day between what this next series means. There's no second place.
Keith Miller, NBC News. Fremantle, Western Australia.
As that news for this Friday night, I'm Tom Brokaw. Connie Chung will be here tomorrow night. I'll see you again on Monday night.
The man.
Who the hell do you think you're talking to?
The woman.
Lyndon, you are frightening me.
The movie.
We'll show that cowboy what the Kennedys are really made of.
The remarkable leader you never really knew. Randy Quaid stars in a 3-hour television event. LBJ, The Early Years, Sunday.
Next from News Center 13, a Des Moines woman eats potentially contaminated ice cream and becomes ill. We'll have her story.
You may have heard of those cheap airline fares. Well, we've got news for you. Good luck finding a ticket.
Plus, Diane Roberts from Newton on Venice, Italy.
Mike's forecast and Jeff of the Sports, all coming up next from News Center 13.
This week at Super Value, buy a big 157-ounce box of concentrated all detergent for $3.69. A jumbo roll of brawny paper towels, only 59 cents. Buy Super Value or Flavor Right beans, corn, or peas